Hey guys, Chicky Demain, Deboo.com with a Deboo.com forecast update. This forecast update effective around 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Wednesday, May 23rd, 2018. And okay guys, here is our first video on the first invest of the 2018 Atlantic Tropical Cyclone season. This is going to be on 90L Invest down in the Western Caribbean, Northwestern Caribbean, National Hurricane Center at 8 a.m., giving a 60% chance of development in the next 5 days. Now, that 5-day thing is kind of a misnomer because the system is starting to come together now, and we'll take a look at that here in just a few moments. For disclaimer purposes, please visit the National Hurricane Center at www.hurricanes.gov for all official watches and warnings. If watches and warnings are issued for your area, please heed the advice of your local, county, state, emergency management officials. Remember, turn around, don't drown. Okay, guys, for those who have been following us along, you know, we have been talking about this system coming up. We are in a repetitive pattern, and just looking down the road a little bit, the European model has been dropping hints on another pattern of round the corner. Deep tropical moisture coming out of the Caribbean up into Florida and into the southeast. That south to north orientation that we've talked about last week that has set us up to where we are now is going to repeat again coming up in the extended forecast. We'll talk more about that here in the next couple of days, but here is, we wanted to give you what the upper level pattern is going to be up in here towards the panhandle and why there's differences in the models. You know, if you watched our last video, we talked about that as well. And so look how this rotation is in here. Okay, this is rotating like this, and then we start to look for key features that stick out. Look over here at the Texas-Louisiana border. That kind of sticks out, doesn't it? Look in here in the central Gulf of Mexico. That kind of looks out. Now, the European model, what has it been doing over the last several days? It's been taking the area of low pressure, lifting it up, and curving it to the left, right? Okay, so that's why. Look how this is upper, it is starting to set up in here. This is why the Euro wants to go up and to the left. But why does the GFS want to go up and to the right? Because look how this is set up in here. Okay, this is all going to be part of an evolutionary process that's going to occur over the next 48 to 72 hours as this area of low pressure lifts out of the Northwest Caribbean. So, again, here's where we start to look. But then when we start to drop down and actually take a look at this system, and you'll see that the counterclockwise rotation is already starting to come into effect. Notice how it starts to wrap over the tip of the Yucatan Peninsula in here. And then we have a flare-up this morning of convective activity. The actual invest is right here on the coast, right here on the tip of the Yucatan Peninsula. If you saw our tweets yesterday, you know, we talked about this area, how convection blew up in here. Okay, as part of that repetitive process, overnight, that retreated back out into here off open water, and as now easterly trade wind flow starts to come in here, now it's starting to push it back this way. That's why the official forecast out of the National Hurricane Center puts an area of low pressure right in here on the tip of the Yucatan Peninsula during the next 24 hours, and after that, folks, it's going to be liftoff. And the question is going to become, is it going to go up and to the left? Is it going to go straight up in here to the Florida Panhandle and the Alabama border? Now, I will stop it right here. And for those who saw our tweet when we joked around and said battle between Alabama and Florida, we tagged the University of Florida, we tagged Alabama football. Okay, and the previous tweet where we looked at this upper level low a week ago, upper level low in the same exact location, and our exact tweet was that this upper level low screams Alabama. That's why, and we drew that A on there. If you guys remember if you saw it. Okay, so I'll just stop right there for a second. Okay, now let's go look at why the GFS wants to go off to the right. And the problem is that when you have weak areas of low pressure that have multiple vorticity spins, sometimes a fight can break out, if you will. And then there's going to be a fight for dominance. One wants to be stronger than the other. Well, if one starts to get stronger than the other and then becomes the main vorticity spin, then we have different problems and different issues. So when the GFS first started picking up on this, it started picking up and it wanted development in here. If y'all remember, run after run after run, it would move it into the Keys in here or in here towards Southwest Florida. And then those guys that were sharing those images that were at plus 384, the GFS actually carried it over here to off Northeast Florida, which coincidentally, that's where Alberto was 2012, was in here. But the GFS 2 weeks ago was showing a hurricane, and everybody was sharing the photos, and I don't blame you. I mean, I would like to see, I mean, that would produce some really good surf. So, but with that said, that's what the GFS has always been on. So you've got the two differences in models, Euro up or to the left, and the GFS wants to take a main spin in here and spin it up this way. That's the difference now, is now the GFS comes in here on the West Florida coast, whereas a week ago it had it here. And you can clearly see in the imagery why the model was thinking that, because look at this area of spin that we have here that's here now. Now, I'll also say this about the GFS. Guys, look at how many vorticity spins we have, you know, in the last, since May 1st. Remember, we had that upper level low that moved into the Bahamas, 20% chance of development. Then we had another upper level low that moved in here. That was 30% chance of development. I think it got up to 40, maybe 50. And now we are on actual invest, 90L invest. And as of 8 a.m. this morning, 60% chance of development. Okay, switch you over to last night's run of the Euro. Sorry, guys, I kicked my stand. Give me a second here. Switch you over to last night's run of the Euro. Okay, and so here down in the bottom left-hand corner, here's the Yucatan Peninsula and 90L invest. The good news overnight on the Euro is the Euro quickly moves it inland and dissipates. Last 4 or 5 runs, mind you, this run I'm showing you is only one run. There's more runs to come, but last 4 or 5 runs, the European model had been hinting at a stall or a meander. Okay, we'll leave that at that. I'll advance the model for you again. Last night's run of the Euro, you'll watch, moves into the central Gulf of Mexico in 72, at 96 deepens, Louisiana, up straight up, and then fades it out. Not really exciting. Again, one run of many more to come. Here's what we're talking about in the extended on another round the corner that the Euro's hinting at. Look down in here off the coast of Costa Rica. Round the corner, area of spin starts here, just like we're witnessing right now with 90L invest. Gets up in here to the Gulf of Honduras. Here is what appears to be the third tropical wave of the season. The second one's already on the board, and that should be this one right here. Again, we'll talk more about that later. Here's the latest run of the GFS. This is the 06Z, guys. Let me back this up real quick. So here we go into real time here, okay? And this is why the GFS wants to go to the right, because in 72 hours, it starts to put heavy weight on the western tip of Cuba. Advance the model for you again, and then here's area of low pressure developing, and then it moves off towards the Florida west coast, and then starts to wrap up this way. Although really no development in this run, it's still the same idea. And if we go back and look at the real-time imagery, and again, guys, this is why it's important to look at visible every morning, but look at how this gives the appearance of a little round little circle in here. Sometimes that's a key indicator of letting us know we see which direction that it's flowing off like this. So this could spin up into here, taking and pulling this with it this way. We're just going to have to watch and wait and see. You know, anytime you get something that tries to develop over the mouth of the Yucatan Channel in here, like that, and in this Gulf of Honduras, It's hard to say. Keep an eye on our social feeds for real-time updates, guys. I'll try and do another video if something changes, but right now it looks like this thing, as far as we're concerned, is going to move up in here to the Central Gulf, just like the National Hurricane Center is showing us right now. Please refer to them for all official advisories, watches, and warnings if they are issued for your area. Thanks for following.